Before we get into conic equations, I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to go ahead and review completing the square because that is going to be a component that we must have. So I'm going to run through a couple example problems and hopefully this will give you some of the review that you need. Okay, so when I'm faced with something like this, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to rewrite the question. So I'm going to write, hang on a second, don't need that. I'm going to write x squared plus 18x, and then I'm going to leave a blank space, add that 77, and it's equal to 0 plus a blank space. Remember, whenever you're doing completing the square, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you also have to do to the other side of the equation. All right, so here's where I'm going to take a look at this one. Notice I'm including the sign. So I take a look at that one and I divide it by 2. So if I divide positive 18 by 2, I get 9. And what's going to happen is I'm going to have x plus 9. And then to complete my square, I'm going to multiply 9 by 9, which gives me 81. And then I have to add 81 to this other side. In order to get that expression that's down below, I have to put those parentheses across it. And then I have to take this 77 and get it to the other side. So when I take 81 and subtract 77, I end up with 4. So for now, this is where we're going to stop. If you really wanted to solve for x, you could go ahead and take the square root of both sides. X plus 9 is equal to 2, and then x would be equal to negative 7. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Same situation. X squared minus 10x plus blank plus 24 plus 0 plus blank. Again, I'm looking at the center term, including the sign. So half of negative 10 is going to be negative 5. So x minus 5 squared is going to be my perfect square. And 5 times 5 gives me positive 25. So I'm going to add 25 to both sides. Now what I do is I go ahead and subtract 24 from both sides so that I'm left with just my perfect square on this side, and on the other side I'm left with 1. So if I wanted to solve this, again, I could take the square root of both sides. X minus 5 is equal to 1, so x is equal to 6. Let's look at one more, and then we'll pop on over to the other side. N squared minus 10n plus blank plus 9 is equal to 0 plus blank. Again, I'm looking at making a perfect square right here. And the way I do that is to divide that negative 10 by 2. So I get negative 5. So n minus 5, quantity squared. So 5 times 5 is going to be 25. Well, it's really negative 5 times negative 5 equals 25. So 25 on both sides. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I end up with 16. All right. Let's take a look over here for 2 more examples, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a day on this. So we have a squared minus 4a plus blank minus 77 equals 0 plus blank. Again, I want to make my perfect square from that. Half of negative 4 is going to be negative 2. So I have a minus 2 squared, and 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. So I have 4 on both sides, and then I'm going to add 77 to both sides. So a minus 2 squared is equal to 81. If I take the square root of both sides, then a minus 2 is equal to 9, which means that a is equal to 11. One last one. M squared minus 20m plus blank plus 19 equals 0 plus blank. Here is my perfect square. Half of negative 20 is going to be negative 10. So m minus 10 squared. Negative 10 times negative 10 is going to be 100. So I'm going to add 100 to both sides, subtract 19, and then that's going to be equal to 81. All right, I hope that helped with a little bit of a review of your completing the square. If you did it differently, please, and you understand that other method differently, please go ahead and continue to use that. This is just the way that I kind of learned, and it's stuck in my head, and it's a real fast and easy way to get it done.